Money, 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 money. Everyone wants to know the tipping rules. Now, all you freaky deaky cruisers out there, all you kinky cruisers, no handcuffs. You can't even bring handcuffs on the cruise. Are you a first-time cruiser, or maybe you just haven't cruised in a while? Some of the rules have changed. You might not know everything, or maybe this is your very first time ever cruising Carnival. Well, I know you have a lot of questions. I'm in this Facebook group and I see the same questions over and over again. Believe it or not, everyone doesn't know the rules. A lot of people don't know the do's and the don'ts of cruising. So welcome back to the channel. I'm your cruising cousin Katrina, and I'm gonna break it all down for you. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the top most asked questions, because I know everyone does not want to read the website and the fine print. So that's what I'm here for. Just trust me, I've read all the fine print, so you don't have to. So that way I'll be able to relay this information to you. So now some things are going to be based upon your own travel needs, what you like and what you don't like. And of course, some are going to be Carnival's rules. And if you like today's content, if you found it helpful, before you leave, before you exit, please make sure you smash the thumbs up button, because it definitely helps me out as I'm trying to grow this channel and platform. So just for FYI purposes, I am a new travel vlogger, and I love traveling, I love vacation, and of course I love cruising. So when I'm not cruising, I'll be doing videos like this to give helpful tips and tricks, so that way you can help plan your vacation and your next cruise. And if you need any special help, you can feel free to reach out to me, because I am a travel advisor and I would love to help you plan your next cruise. With that being said, the number one most asked question that people ask all the time is, which ship do you choose? Which ship do you sail on? Especially if you've never been on a Carnival ship before. There are 8 classes of ships to choose from and 26 ships in all. Now there's the smallest and the oldest ships, Carnival Paradise and Carnival Elation, and both of those ships are only at 70,000 gross tons. Really small. There's not a lot of bells and whistles. If you are just trying to get on a ship just to test it out for the very first time, and if you don't like a lot of people, if you don't need all the bells and whistles, if you don't need all the upgrades, and you're looking for the most economical, budget-friendly cruise, that might be the ship for you. But if you're looking for something much grander, you're looking for something more update, more modern, you like the bigger ships like me, you're a little bougie traveler, you might want to try their XL class, and that's the Carnival Jubilee, Carnival Celebration, or the Carnival Mardi Gras. But there are plenty of other fleets in between. Now, it's also going to come down to how many days do you want to be on the ship, and of course, your ports of call. Sometimes I choose ships based upon the class of the ship, the size of the ship, all the amenities, all the perks, everything that's on board, but I also go based upon the ports of call. So definitely you want to check the website to see what each ship offers, where it's going, how long it's going, and of course the price. And if you need more help, that's where I come into play. When is the best time to cruise? That's the second most popular question asked, I believe, and it's also going to depend on your destination. Bahama destinations are pretty much warm and hot all year round, but also you want to avoid hurricane season like currently right now. If you don't mind the choppy waters, if you don't mind your cruise plans potentially getting changed or interfered or interrupted, then you might want to avoid hurricane season, which lasts from June to November, but the peak of hurricane season is from September to October. But the peak seasons are always going to be during the summer months. It's much hotter, it's warmer, it's a lot more crowded, and the prices are typically higher. You might want to consider traveling during off-peak seasons, which range from January to March, and of course September to October. But again, September and October are your hurricane season time frames, but the prices will be typically lower. Now you might want to consider traveling during spring break. Kids are out of school, but those ships are going to be a lot crowded, and of course the prices are going to be higher, but you're going to have nice weather as well. So depending upon your travel destination will determine the weather, and of course will determine the price and typically how crowded it is. So just a word of advice, a lot more people are getting into cruising. Cruising is so popular. It's just become this, this thing where everyone knows that if you get on a cruise ship, you can go to various destinations and you can just have an awesome vacation all in one. So don't be surprised that no matter what time of year, no matter what ship, it's pretty much going to be crowded. If you have taken a cruise and you loved it, the number one asked question after your first cruise, people say, when do I book my next one? I'm just ready to go again, because it does become like an addiction. If you have a really great experience, you loved it because the atmosphere, the vibe of a cruise is just awesome. It's really awesome. I can't explain it unless you experience it for yourself. So most people are just ready to hop right back on another ship. So the best time to book your next cruise is definitely right after you get home, because of course, sometimes they'll call you right after. You'll get incentives. Normally it's around like 2 months to book your next cruise. You'll get like an onboard credit. Sometimes you get a lower deposit rate. There's a lot of different perks and incentives based upon when you return home. So sometimes you'll have a cruise planner call you shortly after you have cruised. They'll offer you different incentives, whether it's onboard credit or whether it's a lower deposit down on your cruise ship. So typically, even if you're not thinking of cruising right away, most of us are, because I'm already trying to plan my next cruise. Even if it's the following year, you definitely want to book as soon as possible so that way you can have a much better deal. What travel documents do you need when boarding a cruise? If you are a U.S. citizen and you're traveling, leaving from the U.S. and returning back to the U.S., so you only need a valid driver's license or an enhanced photo ID along with your birth certificate. It has to be an original birth certificate with the raised seal, or you can use your certificate of naturalization, I believe that's what it's called, or your Native American Indian card. Now, always a passport is going to be best and easiest. So if you are using your passport, it has to be current and it can't be expiring within 6 months of the last date of your cruise. So I just cruised from September 1st to the 7th. So my passport could not be expiring within 6 months from September 7th, the last date of the cruise. So if you are traveling on any international cruise, any European cruise, any cruise going to Alaska, etc., you will need a valid passport. And again, it can't be expiring within 6 months of the last date of the cruise. So please make sure all your travel documents are up to date and valid. And if you are traveling with kids, the same rules apply. Also, along with your IDs and passports, you will need to print out your boarding pass. Carnival does require you to have a physical printed copy of the boarding pass, and you can get that once you check in on the app within 2 weeks of boarding. And of course, we'll talk about checking in and boarding later on, but make sure along with your identification, you will have to have your boarding passes printed as well. Money, 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 money. Everyone wants to know the tipping rules. How much gratuities should you tip? When should you tip? Do you tip before you board the cruise? Do you tip afterwards? There are so many mixed reviews, and technically, basically, you can do whatever you want. But I always pay my gratuities up front while I'm paying for my cruise, so that way I don't have to worry about it later. If I decide to tip anything else, I'm always going to pay extra in cash on the ship. Whether you're booking your cruise by yourself or whether you're using a travel advisor, you will have the option to pay your gratuities up front, or you can pay it afterwards. This is the big debate. People go back and forth on this. There's no right or wrong answer. Again, tipping gratuity is totally up to you, but the people who work on the ship, they work hard. They're away from their families for months at end. So please consider that most of them are working to send money back home to whatever country they are. So please know and acknowledge the fact that the tips and gratuities that they receive from us are literally pennies compared to what we might potentially make. So now I know I'm considerate. I know a lot of people work hard. You pay a lot of money, or some people have to save up a lot for these trips. So I get that. But again, every cruise ship is different prices. But typically, again, I pay my gratuities up front, and I'm just going to put on the screen right here so that way you can see an idea of like what the rates are. But just know when you pay your gratuities up front, it gets divided between the dining crew, your room attendants, bar attendants, people who work behind the scenes that you don't see or not even considering that they work hard as well. Some people, when they cruise, they don't pay up front. They rather pay while they're on the ship because they want to pay in cash and they want to give it to only the people that they have come in contact with personally. But if you do that, If you do that, you are leaving out the other workers on the ship. So if I'm only going to tip my room attendant or the bar attendant or my waiter, what about everyone else who had a hand in making my vacation an exceptional one? From the people who fold the towels and clean the laundry, whatever it is. I mean, there's so many workers on board the ship. There's so many crew members. So by you not paying the gratuities up front, it does lessen the pot. Now, I always pay extra. Like I said, I always pay extra. And you can also go to guest services at the end of the cruise and you can change the amount. You can definitely change the amount because I believe it's only like $16 or $18 a day, depending upon if you are in a regular stateroom versus whether you're in a suite. So it does range and it varies. And again, it's not a lot. And I found these little cute, fun ways. If you do want to tip your room attendant, these are some nice, creative ways that you can tip them and lay it out for them. So here are some pictures that I just thought were just amazing. People do this all the time. You can get creative and however you want to tip them. This is just a few options and ideas that, you can do for your room attendant, especially if they go above and beyond, because some of them are just really, really great and work really hard. The amount you tip them is totally up to you. And if you don't want to pay anything additional, if you do pay all your gratuities up front, please don't even feel bad. Everyone doesn't have it. So now with that being said, some people also ask, should you give gifts? Can you give gifts to your room attendant or to staff? And the answer is absolutely yes. They love it. They appreciate it. And of course, it stands out. So a lot of people give snacks. A lot of people give bottles of wine. A lot of people give chocolate. Some people buy them drinks on the ship. I've even heard people even bring them socks or bring them toiletries. They have to purchase everything on the ships themselves, just like us. So whatever you give them as a token of your appreciation, trust me, they will definitely appreciate it. So now a big question that a lot of cruisers are concerned about and might not know what happens in the event of a storm, like right now, hurricane season, and there are a lot of changes going on, itinerary changes. I'm hearing it on the news. It's on the website. First of all, I just want to say a word of advice. If you are traveling, especially during hurricane season, I would not travel without travel insurance. Please make sure you are getting protection for your cruise in case of the event anything happens, because there are a lot of cancellations. Sometimes the captains have the ship literally just happened on another cruise ship, because I'm in a Carnival cruise group and a lot of people are giving updates. Their cruise was supposed to be set sail on, I forgot whatever day it was. Let's just say it was supposed to set sail and leave on Monday. The crew said, okay, everyone who can make it, because of the storm is coming, we don't want to cancel the entire cruise, so we are leaving a day early. So sometimes cruise itineraries do change. So the captain can decide to let the cruise start a day early, or he can end it a day or two early, depending upon the weather, depending upon the cruise. Sometimes the whole entire cruise is canceled altogether. In that event, you will get your money back. But let's just say you purchase flights already, or you purchase hotels. If you don't have travel insurance, will you get that money back? I've never had to deal with that. I've never had to experience that, thankfully. But please purchase travel insurance, because at the end of the day, the captain wants to make sure that everyone is safe. There's weather advisories. Everyone has to, follow different rules and regulations. So sometimes ports of call change. Sometimes destinations change. Sometimes the entire itinerary changes altogether to avoid a storm. It happens all the time. So just be advised, expect the unexpected. So please make sure you are checking the cruise website, listening to the news, and make sure you plan ahead, govern yourselves accordingly. And most importantly, if you are cruising, please try to arrive the day before. I know a lot of people say they don't want to pay the extra hotel fee, but anything can happen. Plane delays, flight cancellation. I'm telling you, you can say, I'm going to take the first flight out. The cruise doesn't leave until 4:30. You might not be checking in until like 2, but you just never know. The last thing you want to do is miss your cruise. The ship is not going to wait for you. Give yourself enough time, some cushion, some grace period, just in case if there's any delays or cancellations, because you've planned, you've worked hard for your vacation. So the last thing you want to do is miss your cruise. Okay. So if anything happens, anything changes, just go with the flow, because it's better to be safe than sorry. And of course, if my cruise was shortened where I had to end up going home early, I would rather be home than at sea fighting a hurricane or in the midst of a hurricane, you know, trying to stick it out. I would rather definitely be home than on the choppy seas. So just take everything into consideration and just know that everything is for a reason. I always keep in the back of my mind, things happen for a reason. Things could always be worse. So I'm always thankful and mindful that when changes come about, it's pretty much for a good reason, and it's pretty much to keep me safe. So I'm just gonna go with the flow and always try to make the best of it. The big question is, can you bring your own beverages? Can you bring your own sodas, waters, alcohol, wine on the ship? The answer is yes and no. There's some rules and some regulations. There's definitely some do's and don'ts, so listen up closely. Carnival prohibits you from bringing any sodas, any waters, any non-alcoholic beverages in glass or bottle. You cannot bring any glass or bottles. You can, however, bring on your own sodas. As long as it's 12 cans, you can bring on like a case of 12 cans of sodas, unopened, and it must be in a carry-on. This is another reason why you might want to travel the day before, go to a local Walmart or something like that, because I wouldn't want to travel or fly with cans of soda, okay? Get shaken all around, they could explode. I've heard horror stories, but I do know people wrap up their bottles of wine in towels, or you can put them in like wine bags. But again, when you get to the ship, it has to be in a carry-on, as long as it's in a carry-on. So for your case of soda, it's 12 per person. So even if there's someone else in the room, you can have 2 cases if it's 2 of you. And the cases of sodas, they don't have to be in cans, they can be in cartons as well. So if you have like kids, you can bring on cartons of like, you know, juice, let's just say. Again, it has to be unopened, and it's 12 per person. Now for your bottle of wine, for your alcohol, you can bring on only on embarkation day. That's the only time you can bring this on embarkation day. 1 bottle of wine, a 750 milliliter bottle per person. Again, 1 bottle of wine, 750 milliliters per person, unopened, sealed, and it has to be brought on in a carry-on. It can't be in your checked luggage that you give over to the porter once you get to the ship. You do have to carry it on physically to the ship, because it will need to go through security. They will open up the case now. I've seen, because people try to sneak beer cans. So no, you cannot bring beer on. It has to be non-alcoholic in cans or cartons, and you can only bring on a bottle of wine. If you do want to consume your own bottle of wine inside the dining hall, you will have to pay the cork fee, which I believe is around $15. So it's better to drink it in your room, but if you want to consume it at the dining hall, you will have to pay a cork fee. And of course, that'll go like to your sail and sign card. And if you just happen to be doing a back-to-back cruise, the same amount that you would be allotted to bring on for 1 person, you can bring it on twice, because you'll be doing a back-to-back cruise. Hope that makes sense. So if I can take on 1 12 case of canned sodas for my first cruise, I can now bring 2. I can now bring 2 bottles of wine. But again, this is only on embarkation day. So now any alcohol that you purchase while you're on the ship or at ports of call at sea, it will be taken, it will be held for you safely until your last day. It will be given back to you. You go pick it up. I know on Royal, they actually bring it to you. The room attendant brings it to you the last day, right before you're about to check out. So now when it comes to the water, unfortunately, you can no longer bring your own water on the ship. You can pre-purchase it ahead of time at the Carnival Fun Shop online. And of course, you can purchase water while you're on the ship, but you cannot bring your own water on board. Now, there are a lot of things that you cannot bring on the ship. There are a lot of things that Carnival prohibits, and pretty much other cruise lines as well. They pretty much all follow the same suits. So number 1, please know that Carnival prohibits any type of weapons. There are no weapons allowed on the ship. You do have to get scanned by security when you go through. You won't get through. So please leave all weapons at home. Guns, no knives, nothing. You cannot bring it on board the ship. Along with that being said, there are no illegal drugs. There are no illegal substances, no contrabands, no narcotics. There is no marijuana. There is no cannabis. There is no designer drugs. You cannot bring it. Even if it's legal in your state, even if it's for medical purposes, due to federal laws, it's not legal on the water. It's not legal in certain countries. Carnival does reserve the right to check all passengers and confiscate anything, and it will be discarded. You won't be compensated, and you will not get it back. The dogs were out on my cruise. They line you up against the wall. Your bags are placed on the floor. The dogs come by and they sniff, and if they catch wind of anything, it will be removed. And you definitely don't want to get caught while you're on the ship. Some people have, I don't know how they get it snuck in. Maybe it's a cruise that didn't have the dogs or whatever, but please make sure you just don't risk it, because I've heard the horror stories and you're not getting it back. It will be confiscated, but you could have the potential to be removed from the ship as well. So just keep that in mind. I've definitely heard some stories, and I've seen other videos where people can smell it like off the balcony, or like smell it in the hallway with other people. Someone will complain. Someone will complain and you will get caught. So do not risk it. Let's just have a nice, safe, and drug-free trip. Do it when you get back home. And if you just can't live without it, maybe cruising is not for you. Please follow the rules, because I would hate for your trip to get ruined or for you to get banned over, you know, some illegal substances. So some other things that you cannot bring. You cannot bring any gas guns. You cannot bring any sprays, any mace. You can't be up on the Lido deck spraying people. So none of that is allowed on the ship. And of course, you can't bring anything flammable. You can't bring any appliances. There's no hot plates. There's a whole list of things that you cannot bring. Anything that requires a surgical outlet, you cannot bring it. You can't bring any irons. You can't bring any steamers. Most cruise ships have an ironing room, or it will have a place where you can send your clothes off to get steamed. So just definitely check which cruise ship you're going to be on. Of course, you can bring your own wrinkle spray, so that way you can try to, you know, spray out the wrinkles, hang it up. But you do have the option to go to an ironing room. I'm not sure about all of the older ships, but all the newer ships have the laundry service, and they definitely have the ironing rooms as well. But no irons, no steamers. You can bring flat irons, curling irons, blow dryers, as long as it's 12-inch diameter. As long as it's a regular outlet, no surge protector outlet, you can bring that on the ship, because of course us ladies have to do our hair. All right, so those items you can bring. Now, another thing that you cannot bring, I know some of us might be traveling with our significant others, our partners, whether it's for an anniversary, we want to set the mood. This might be a romantic vacation for you. You might want to create some fireworks, but baby, you cannot bring any fireworks on the ship. You cannot be out on your balcony lighting them up. There's no fireworks on board, okay? Please don't bring it. You're just gonna have to try to create some sparks in another type of way, if you know what I mean. And definitely you can have the ship rocking if that's what you want to do, but you can't bring fireworks. You're gonna have to make it yourself, all right? You know, a little body action can create your own friction, if you know what I mean. Hasn't happened to me yet. I'm not amongst the Sea High Club or the Ocean Club, if so you will. But one day I'm gonna create my own sparks on the ship, because I love cruising, but I just haven't cruised with a significant other just yet. But if you are cruising with yours, please make sure you don't bring any fireworks. Speaking of sparks, you can't bring any heaters, you can't bring any humidifiers, you can't bring heating pads, so hot plates, heating blankets, all of that is prohibited. Now, all you freaky deaky cruisers out there, all you kinky cruisers is trying to, you know, do some tricks, no handcuffs. You can't even bring handcuffs on the cruise. Like, did you know that? I don't even know why that would be, you know, an issue. I guess they don't want no keys going overboard and someone getting locked to something. You can't bring any handcuffs on the cruise. Sorry. So no handcuffs, no 50 Shades of Grey restraints or, you know, tactics. Carnival is not trying to be at risk for any keys going off board and someone tied up and locked to a chain to a bed. So save that for when you get back on land, when you get back home. No handcuffs, no restraints whatsoever. So just some other things to note that are prohibited that you cannot bring. You cannot bring any inflatable pool floaties. Nothing inflatable. You cannot bring any hoverboards. You can't bring Heelys, any sneakers that have wheels in it. I know kids really love those. You cannot go rolling around the pool deck. You can't bring roller skates, different things like that. You cannot bring any large radios or boom boxes or speakers. You can bring, however, small portable Bluetooth speakers. I always travel with mine, but you cannot bring any large stereos or boom boxes. And believe it or not, you cannot bring hookah. I know that's really popular. People love their hookah, but you cannot bring hookah on a ship either. No pets, no live animals are allowed on a Carnival cruise ship unless they are trained with a specific task for someone who has a disability. That's the only thing. So no comfort animals are allowed. It has to be a trained animal that is qualified and is trained to perform a specific task for someone who has a disability. And you have to show proof. That's the only way an animal is allowed on a cruise ship. So no comfort animals, no companion animals. So like a C&I dog, someone who has epilepsies, seizures, something like that. So those are the only exceptions that I know about. If you have any other concerns or questions, I would definitely speak with your travel advisor or speak with your Carnival planner as well if you have any other situations outside of that scope. Now, I don't know why you would want to bring this, because when I come on a Carnival cruise, I want to enjoy the cruise. I'm not going to be up in my room, you know, like watching movies or playing video games. But a lot of people travel with these game consoles when they go on different vacations or hotels. But on a ship, Carnival said, nope, you can't bring it. No Xboxes, no PlayStations. You can't even plug up a Fire Stick, USB, or anything to the back of the TV. No cameras or anything. Carnival has, believe it or not, disconnected all the connection ports. So you cannot hook up anything to the Carnival TVs, unfortunately. So it is definitely prohibited. So leave all your game consoles at home. Handheld devices are okay if anyone's still using Game Boys or anything like that, or the Nintendo Switches, anything like that, of course you can bring it. But if it has to be plugged into the TV, you can't bring it. Now, I'm a snack girly. I love my snacks. So can you bring snacks on a cruise? Can you bring home cooked food on a cruise? Now, I shouldn't even have to tell y'all this, but just in case if you don't know, you can bring snacks unopened. You can bring unopened, sealed snacks. So if you have kids, if you know you have, a sweet tooth, you can definitely bring it. There is, a candy shop. They do have some snacks in the Lido Market at the buffet, but compared to Royal, no, I was not prepared. I like my chips, I like my cookies, I like donuts. They don't have that stuff on the ship. They have a small, variety of fruit. I'm not sure about every ship, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. They have some muffins and stuff, but they do not have a lot of snacks. So if I were you, I would definitely bring your snacks, whether it's, fruit roll up, whether it's, Swiss rolls, whether it's donuts. You can bring any snack. You can bring chips, Pringles, popcorns, as long as it's sealed and unopened. Now, don't bring your mama's macaroni and cheese. Don't bring your fried chicken. Don't bring your oxtails. You cannot bring home cooked food on the ship. There's no way to preserve it. There's no way to heat it up. You can't bring it. You just can't bring it. So it's prohibited. So no home cooked food, nothing that is open, nothing in Tupperware. You cannot bring any of that on the Carnival ship. Sorry. There's plenty of restaurants. There's plenty of fine dining specialty restaurants. There's the buffet. And of course, there's a lot of Guy's Burgers. There's pizza. There's plenty of food. There's an endless array of food. So you don't have to bring your own food, but snacks, you definitely might want to bring, especially if you're traveling with kids. Now, what should you pack? What should you bring on the ship? Now, if y'all watch my packing video, some people said I was packing too much, but again, I was packing for a 7-day cruise on top of going to New York for a few days. But I'm a big packer. I'm going to do that because I'm going to make multiple changes. But do not overpack. Do not overpack. You know what you wear on a cruise. And I'm going to talk about the dress code right after this. But Carnival advises if you're going on anywhere from a 3 to 5 day cruise, one suitcase. One suitcase. If you're going on anything more than 6 days, you can bring up to 2 suitcases. And of course, you want to bring on a carry-on because you want to have something to change into just in case if you want to get in the pool, something light or snacks or refreshments or whatever it is that you're going to need until your suitcase comes to your room. Now, if you're checking in on the ship before 1:30, you can definitely give your bags to the porter. You can check your bags and they'll bring it to your room. But if you are checking in after that time, you will have to have your suitcase with you the entire time. So just keep that in mind, depending upon what time you're checking in, what time you arrive to the ship. You can go and hang out at the Lido deck, the pool, or anything like that, in the buffet. And you will have to have your luggage with you if you arrive after the time. I believe it's around 2 o'clock, I believe, because they do have to start getting that luggage on the ship and start getting it divvied up to all the passengers. So just keep that in mind. Now, what to wear on the ship? There is, believe it or not, a dress code. There is a dress code, and I don't know why this is such a big debate. A lot of people go back and forth in these cruise groups and these chats that I'm in, and they're always talking about the dress code. So now Carnival does have a dress code guideline, believe it or not, and they say casual and comfortable. Casual and comfortable. So whatever that means to you, shorts, t-shirts, tank tops, flip-flops, jeans, whatever it is, sundresses, bathing suits, cover-ups. You want to be comfortable and you want to be casual, right? You just want to enjoy your cruise, and you definitely don't want to bring anything that's going to be too hot. If you're cruising during the summer months, if you are cruising to the Bahamas or the Caribbean, it is going to be hot. So please make sure you're not bringing like heavy garments when you're outside. But sometimes you might want to bring a sweater or something, because it do be cold on those ships, especially like, at the shows and stuff. It does be cold. But casual and comfortable in the daytime. At nighttime, this is when the dilemma comes in, right? Because some people go on vacation, they just do not want to dress up. I know when I went on my last cruise with my son's father, he didn't even bring a pair of dress shoes. And I'm like, dude, it's formal night. So they do have elegant night, formal night on the longer cruises, and Carnival's guidelines is sharp and chic. I'm telling you, sharp and chic. So technically, if you are going into the main dining room, if you are going in some of the specialty dining restaurants like Fahrenheit, the steakhouse, or Sea Grill, they do not want you coming in there in flip-flops. So just know Carnival specifically has written it out black and white for like the elegant night for the main dining hall. It specifically says no cutoff jeans, no sleeveless tank tops, no shirts, no bathing suits, no swimwear, no basketball shorts, no basketball caps, no hats. And it also says like no flip-flops. So these are things that are not technically allowed in the main dining room. Think of elegant and formal. Now, everyone does not want to do that. I've seen people wear pajamas in the main dining room. I've seen people wear basketball shorts. Some people come straight from the pool. Should you do it? Shouldn't you do it? That's literally up to you and your discretion. I personally, I'm not gonna care, but I know for one thing, I'm gonna dress up, I'm gonna have on my heels, I'm gonna look good, and I'm gonna take my pictures. I want to feel like, even though I'm on a ship, I don't wanna come to the main dining room in my pajamas or in my bathing suit, because I don't want to offend anyone else. It says to be respectful of the passengers. Some people just don't care, and that's your right. You can do whatever you want, you pay for your cruise, but I personally feel, y'all can let me know in the comments how you feel, what you do. Please let me know, because this is an ongoing, topic of discussion that people always talk about. If you are going to dress down, if you want to be casual and comfortable, and you don't want to dress sharp, you don't want to dress chic like Carnival advises, especially if you're on Royal Caribbean, I say go to the buffet. I say go to the Lido market, all right? Leave the dining. There's an atmosphere. There's a tone. It should be, if there's an elegant night, it should be an elegant night. You should dress up. You should want to dress your best. I mean, some people don't want to pack all these clothes. I guess that's why some people were saying, why you got so many clothes? That's because I'm dressing for the occasion. I'm dressing for the event. So when I do go to the really nice shows and stuff at the dinner, I am going to be looking nice. I am going to be taking the pictures on the backdrops. I'm not going to take pictures on a formal night in my booty shorts and my flip-flops. It's just not happening. So again, that is totally up to you, up to your discretion. It's your cruise. You can dress however you want, but I do advise you just to be respectful, read the guidelines, and adhere to Carnival's dress code policy. But you let me know down in the comments. Please let me know how you dress when you're going to the main dining room, if you do have a formal or elegant night on your cruise. Again, some cruises are shorter, some cruises are longer. So on the longer cruise, they are going to have at least 2 elegant nights. And of course, they do have an 80s rock and glow theme. So you might want to bring your neon, you might want to bring your glow in the dark, your 80s theme for that. And of course, they will have an all white. So make sure you're prepared. Check your Carnival Hub app. That's all going to be in your app. It'll let you know the theme for each night. Okay, so if you are on a longer cruise, there's always going to be those themes. If you're like sailing during the holidays, sometimes some cruises have, you know, holiday themes or pajama parties. I think that's Virgin Voyage that does the Christmas. I have yet to sail for Christmas, and I will be doing that. I'm considering doing that this year because where I really want to go, it's pretty much sold out. So I think I might do a Christmas cruise. Y'all let me know if y'all would be interested in seeing me cruise for Christmas, all right, for the very first time. But just make sure you're checking your Carnival app to see what the dress code themes are. I have never seen them turn anyone away, but I just wouldn't do it. Me personally, I just wouldn't wear certain things while everyone else is in tuxedos or ball gowns and stuff. Like, why do I want to be the odd person out? If I'm going to wear that, then again, I'm going to go to the Lido market or the Lido deck. All right. But again, it's up to you. It's your prerogative. You do what you want to do. It's your cruise, your money. Have at it. And I just learned this. I read this in a policy. Never even knew this was a thing. Let me know if you have heard this or, you know, if you had any situations with this. You cannot wear any camouflage, any army fatigue at the ports of call when you're getting off the ship. Because technically it is against the law, especially like on the Caribbean islands. You cannot wear any camouflage or any army fatigue. I literally just heard about this. So let me know if you've heard of that, if you knew of this law. But when you're going to like Barbados, Bahamas, you know, all the different islands, you cannot wear any camouflage, any army fatigue. It's against the law. So just keep that in mind when you are traveling and you're packing. Most people are in swimwear and stuff, but you just can't have any camo print or any army fatigue. And last but not least, a lot of people know that you can purchase, you know, your beverage package. You have your non-alcoholic packages and you have your cheers packages. You have your alcoholic package that you can purchase on the ship, or I advise you purchase it beforehand. You'll save just a little bit more money if you purchase everything beforehand. And of course, you can purchase your Wi-Fi packages. They have different tiers. Now, with the Wi-Fi package, a lot of people always ask, can you still FaceTime? Can you talk to your family? Can you text? And the answer is yes. With all the packages, you can do FaceTime. I do advise you to download the WhatsApp so that way you can FaceTime anyone pretty much, especially if the person you're calling doesn't have social media. You can FaceTime and you can use the social media messaging if you are purchasing the Wi-Fi packages. So again, there are different tiers. And if you want to save some coins, a tip would be, if you're going to disengage from the world or you're not going to be on your phone that much, you don't have to purchase a social media plan for every person in the room. If you are sharing a room with someone, especially if you have kids or you have spouses and you're all together, there's no really need to be calling a lot of other people. You can purchase a plan for every person's phone or multiple devices. But another thing that you want to do or might consider is just purchase one social media plan, whatever tier that is, and you can log in and out of devices. Maybe you just want to check in on family back home or check your messages, check your emails, but you can share one plan and just log in and out of each device. So I did that with my iPad and my phone, but you can also definitely splurge and you can purchase social media plans for everyone. Another question is, if you are purchasing the alcoholic package and there's multiple people in the room and only one person wants it, it's either all or nothing. Everyone has to purchase the drinking package, which I do not understand because I personally do not drink alcohol. So I would never purchase the alcohol package. So if you are cruising with me, I'm not paying for it. You would have to pay for it. But if you are rooming together, you both have to purchase the alcohol package. And I know on my last cruise, we met these two brothers. They both had to purchase the alcohol package. And the alcohol limit is 15 drinks per day. That's the limit. Every 24 hours, it's only 15. So I hope this video was helpful. I just want to do this quick do's and don'ts, top most asked questions. If you have any other questions or if you felt like I left anything out, please drop it down in the comments below. I'm going to be bringing a lot more videos. I'm probably going to do one on Royal Caribbean next. The more I cruise, the more I do, the more I'm going to share. All right. So thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out some of my past vlogs. There's lots more to come. I think it's about time for another cruise. cruise, all right? Stay locked in on the channel, and until next time, I will see you in the next video. See you later, cousins. I said bye. Bye, cousins.